Pekma, Editor-in-Chief of City and State. Today our guest is Kevin Stocker. He is the Republican nominee for State Senate in the 60th Senate District in Western New York. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us.
Morgan, thanks for coming to the house here.
Oh yes, we are in your beautiful home here in Kenmore. So a lot of people obviously have been following your race around the state. You scored a very surprising victory over Mark Grisanti in the Republican primary. What do you attribute your victory to?
It's really easy. Hard work. Went to the doors of the voters, earned their trust and support, and they get a chance to talk to me. And again, I'm doing doors right now, Democrat doors, and Democrats, Republicans, and other voters, they're no different. They want a leader that has character, integrity, and trust. They want somebody that they can trust that's going to fight for the hardworking families of Western New York, and their support's been overwhelming. So it wasn't surprising to me. I'm a very modest, humble individual, but I knew due to the hard work and going to approximately 18,000 homes that I was earning their trust and support the old-fashioned way.
Do you think that, it's always reported when they talk about Mark Grisanti's loss that he was the last Republican state senator who voted for marriage equality. Do you think that social issues were a factor in your victory?
The social issues was trust. Senator Grisanti promised the voters one thing and did the opposite and lied to them repeatedly. So it wasn't necessarily a social issue, it was the lack of trust. They like a marriage, like a business partnership. Once that trust factor is gone, the relationship's over. So again, going back to the doors, you show them, you pay them the respect they're entitled to, and you earn their trust and support. It's old-fashioned values that your parents taught you as a child and my parents taught me as a child.
You told me something which was very striking before this interview, that you have never even been to Albany.
Never even drove through Albany.
So why do you want to be a state senator?
I want to fight for hardworking families. I want to change the dynamics that go in New York State where the special interest groups control. I want to switch it back so that the people now control. So elected officials now do the will of the people. And that means changes in the way we do business have to occur. And you have to have somebody willing to fight the political party bosses, somebody who doesn't show that kind of fear and doesn't want to go along to get along, and somebody who's got true leadership. And that's exactly what I want to do.
Do you feel any apprehensions about your ability to do the job, being that you haven't seen the legislature up close, you haven't been a staffer, that you haven't seen the actual legislative process, for yourself?
All I know is I've been told my entire life by various people, you can't do something, you can't do this, you can't do that. I was told I can't beat Mark Grisanti. I like to tell my children and other young people that you may not be successful your first time in whatever goal you're trying to achieve, but if you're willing to work hard, overcome life's adversities, never give up, I believe anything can get done. And I believe that the Bills someday will win a Super Bowl and the Sabres will win a Stanley Cup. That's the way my mind works. You just got to work hard and never give up.
And you would be somewhat of an iconoclast were you to go to Albany as a state senator. I mean, you really want to target corruption. You want to take on all the interests that are so entrenched in the state senate. I mean, that will make you a pretty unpopular guy.
I'm not going there to make friends. I like representing the little guys, the hard-working families of Western New York. My whole career's been built on that. I like being the David versus Goliath. So I would never go to Albany to make friends. It's not the way I operate. I want to switch the power and give it back to the hardworking families of Western New York.
Have you spoken with Dean Skelos at all since your victory?
Don't know the gentleman.
Do you plan on caucusing with the Republican conference?
I haven't even thought past what doors I'm going to today. I love going to the doors of the voters. Today I'm going to the Democrat doors of Grand Island, and I haven't thought past that.
And you are a Republican. You ran to the right of Mark Grisanti, who has been portrayed as a rhino. But you also sought the Working Families Party nomination, which was a lot of people were confused about that. Can you explain that?
There's nothing confusing about it. When you go to the doors of the hardworking families and the people that belong to that party, I started to ask them, why do you belong to the working family? And they looked at me like I was an idiot. And they said, because we're hardworking families. I said, okay, I understand that. I said, what about this issue, this issue, this issue? Something that the political party boss may put a platform together. I said, do you believe in that? They looked at me, no. We believe in issues that affect our hardworking families here in Western New York, things that meat and potatoes issues that affect us. Every family's the same, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Conservative, Independent. They want a better life. They want to be rewarded for their hard work. They want to survive, and they want to have dignity. These are the things. So when commercials or party bosses like to spin things, to me, those commercials offended the hardworking families of Western New York, and I thought they were disrespectful.
Right now, there's been a lot of talk about Mark Grisanti staying in on the independents line. That would make it a three-way, but there's actually a candidate on the conservative line as well, and there's been talk whether the Mike Long would hand over the conservative line to you, put you on the ticket. Have you spoken with the Conservative Party at all?
I have not spoken to anybody. Again, whoever the party bosses want to put up, the more the welcome, the more the merrier. I want to go to the voters and earn their trust and respect. I don't care how many candidates they put in. I don't care how many political party bosses and the games they play. I'm going to be independent from party bosses, and I'm going to give the power back to the people.
And what do you see as the dynamics in the race? I mean, there's some people say that Mark Grisanti will take away votes from Marc Panepinto. Some people say he'll take away votes from you, being that you're both Republicans. I mean, what do you see as your path to victory and the dynamics that will play out here in November?
From going to the doors, whether they're Republicans, Democrats, working family, as you brought up, they're no different. They want a leader that has character, integrity, and trust, and the trust that they're going to fight for the hardworking families of Western New York. So when I go to the Democrat houses, they love the fact that I'm a fighter. I don't quit when I've lost in the past. They don't find that to be a bad quality. They like people that fight and do the right things. And it's going to be about character. This is going to be a race about leadership and who could lead and fight for Western New York and do the right things. And it's going to have nothing to do with who belongs to what party.
If you're elected, what are going to be your foremost priorities in office?
I think the first thing, in order to fight for the hardworking families in Western New York, you have to go after corruption. Because it's corruption, it's money that buys influence, that leads to corruption, that takes that power that I keep talking about away from the average citizen, the average voter here in Western New York. And I think you have to go at the corruption first. Once you address corruption, all the other issues will fall in line. Anything that's good for Western New York, I'll fight for. I don't care what party the other leaders belong to. I'll be able to reach out and get things done that are good, but first we got to stop what's bad.
You're a very unconventional candidate in the fact that you didn't have a victory party when you won in the primary. You were telling me you didn't even watch the returns on television. I mean, do you feel like that you could be in for a rude awakening when you go to Albany, kind of having this idealistic notion of what you can accomplish and to just plunge into the cesspool?
All I can say is I've been raised a certain way. I just keep moving forward. I've always been looked at, ever since a little child, as a leader. And you have to do things different. I don't feel comfortable with victory halls and fake speeches. To me, that's phony. I like being real. I like rolling up my sleeves and getting right into the trenches. I believe you got to do the hard work. You can't let others do the hard work for you. You have to show that you're willing to make the sacrifices it takes. and show it. All I can say, these values and lessons have been learned from early childhood, is whatever it takes to accomplish a goal and succeed, and doing it the right way, the honest way, the hard-working way. All the values that we have in Western New York. This is a great community. They have very principled values, and we feel like we've been shortchanged over the years. And they're looking for somebody that they can trust.
Do you think that's changed now with the governor's greater emphasis on the region and investment and economic development here? Do you feel that there is a greater sense that Albany is playing a positive role here in Western New York?
It's a tough question to answer. We've been told one thing, lied to and deceived. And in the paper today, the governor talked about the negative pessimism of Western New York. Well, when somebody's deceived you for 50 years, it's tough to trust. And you got to earn that trust. And that's part of what I've been doing, working hard and earning people's trust. So will it come overnight? If there's anything good, jobs, revitalization, anything good for Western New York, I will fight for it, and I'll reach out to whoever, whether it's Governor Cuomo or whoever else. Whatever's bad, the corruption, the money, the deceit, I'm fighting that. I want to sink my teeth into that.
Well, Kevin Stocker, thank you so much for joining us today on City and State TV. Wish you the best of luck in November.
Thanks for having me.